Hello everyone, my name is Sophie and welcome to a new episode of the Bookhater podcast. We're in episode 5. That makes a full hand already. I know, I can do math, I failed it, but I do know my simple maths. We're here today. I'm glammed up with my fake ears. Can you tell? Can you see? I wore them before. In like 2 videos before. I think they're so cute, and now that we're talking about the Fae Queen, Sarah J. Maas, I thought it was fitting to wear them. Let's see how long I'll keep them on, because it's not like they're uncomfortable, but I just hate, like, I hate when I start noticing that there's something there. It's the same with a headband. I can wear it, but at some point while wearing it, I just get conscious of wearing it, and then I have to take it off. But that might just be a me problem. So, welcome to episode number 5. Before we talk about our topic on at hand, I keep forgetting to say who I am. My name is Sophie, and this is the Bookhater podcast. As you can, Bookhater Club podcast. I don't even know the name of my own podcast. We have the sign in the back, so everyone knows what we're here for. Hating on books. We hate on books. We post rant reviews. I mean, I do. You watch them, hopefully. And that's what I do. I actually got a comment just earlier. I can read it out to you. And I was like reconsidering who I am. They said, because I repost the TikToks that I post them as shorts on YouTube because that reaches more people. And so someone commented under my TikTok where I said, I don't know what I said in there. I was like, oh, I review books critically, booktok books, or I booktok books suck. And then someone said, when her entire personality is hating popular books just to be quirky and different. And I was like, oh my god, you're so right, queen. I often get comments like that. They're like, oh, you're just trying to be different. It's true. It's true! I don't want to be like everyone else. I don't want to be like the other girls. I'm gonna hate on everything. Peace and love, it's just bad. So, now that we're on the topic of book rants, I haven't done one in 3 weeks. Yeah, I know, I'm aware. And that's why we're going to talk about this briefly. Well, where's the new video, Sophie? Because in my last podcast episode, I said, I'm going to get the video out this week, which was last week. But honestly, if you watched that video and you were like, oh my god, yeah, and you believed me, like, that's on you. Like, I always lie. I always lie when it comes to my videos. No, I never want to say, like, I'm going to post it then and then, because something always happens, and it just genuinely, I didn't read last week. This is probably going to be a little bit more chill. Well, I've already been screaming, but I mean that today is Tuesday for me. I had to hand in 2 essays for uni, which are my final grades. The essays are my final grades. And I had to hand in 2 at once. And it was a lot of work, and so I didn't sleep last night. I was up for like 30 hours, and then I took a 2-hour nap, and now I'm sitting here, so I'm running on very little sleep. And I just want to go to bed, if I'm being honest. Peace and love, I just want to sleep. But I thought, what better time to make a video than now? Because today's like the day that I have time out of this week. And then on the weekend, I'm hoping to get my Kingdom of the Wicked review out, because I've read half of that book, and now that I've finished my essays, I still have stuff to do. I still have to do presentations and hand shit in, but I have more time, okay? I have more time now. I've just been really, really busy with uni, and so I'm gonna get it out this week. I hope. Peace and love, I hope. Also, someone commented, I read the comments, okay? Someone commented like, oh, I really liked the video, but you kept saying peace and love, which confused me. And I didn't answer that comment because I didn't really know how to explain myself. Like, I say peace and love too much, but I don't even say that in my German vocabulary. Like, when I speak to my boyfriend, I never say, oh, aber peace and love. Frieden und Liebe. Frieden und Liebe. I never say that. It's just only when I speak English, my vocabulary changes. It becomes like TikTok vocabulary when I speak English. So, I'm a very different person in German. Okay, I'm not as funny, which is why these videos are English, bitch, because, you know, I gotta be funny. So, that video is coming out at the end of the week, I hope on the weekend. So, there is a reason why... Oh, Kingdom of the Wicked, did I say it? I'm reading Kingdom of the Wicked, and I think it's gonna be like... Maybe it's gonna be 2 stars, but it's probably gonna be a 1 star for me. And not necessarily because it's, like, poorly written, it's just very boring. It's very boring, and I know a lot of people love it, and I've seen that people said that the second book is better, and the series gets better, but I'm just not hooked on the story so far, and I've read like half of it, so we'll see. But for people who are missing the random reviews, it's coming, I promise. I've just been busy, and it's like when people are like, "Oh, where are the random reviews?" I'm like, "Oh my god, you actually want to watch them?" It's like when I see people refer to something I said in the previous video, I'm like, "Oh my god, you actually watched that?" Because I just can't believe like that people actually watch my videos. Because I'm like, I get on my own nerves, you know what I mean? So thank you for watching. I love you. But the reason we're talking about Sarah J. Maas today, there's a reason for that, and you have to keep watching to find out, because I will be making an announcement soon. Yes, are you excited for that? Because before we talk about Sarah J. Maas, we will be talking about, or I will, not we, because you're not saying anything, I will be talking about my history as a reader. How I became a reader, because Sarah J. Maas plays a huge part in that story, and so I thought it would be a good segue. In case you only want to watch a certain part of the video or a certain topic, there are timestamps in the description box, and if you scroll on the video, you can also see like the different sections. So if you don't want to hear me talk about myself, which it's fine, you can skip ahead and just watch the Sarah J. Maas part. That's fine. No one ever told me about this, that this was like a thing. I had to figure it out myself, and I was like, this is such a cool feature. I love it. I love that YouTube invented this, you know. Other life updates from my side, there aren't really any. I've been busy with uni. I had it in my two essays today. Pulled an all-nighter. I'm running on a lot of caffeine. I mean, I did sleep a little bit, okay? I did sleep a little bit after I handed them in, when I was driving to uni this morning, because I had to hand in a physical copy of the presentation of the essay too. I had to send it per email and also hand it in physically. I was in a delirium when I was in the car, you know. It's not like I wasn't driving safe. I always drive safe, but I was just like, I don't even know what's going on. I don't know what time it is. I don't know where I am. I don't know. All-nighters are just not my thing. I only ever do them when it's uni related. When it's like I have to hand something in, that's the only time I ever do it. It's just not for me. Peace and love. It was so... The good thing about it was last night was the Met Gala. So there was something going on in on the internet, but usually when I am up late, nothing happens. Like, nothing's going on in the world. And then it's boring to be up because there's nothing going on. But last night it was the Met Gala, so that was quite fun. Even though I don't care about the Met Gala. But last night I did, because I was up, you know? If I had just gotten up in the morning and it was like, oh, the Met Gala happened, I would have looked at the pictures and been like, cool. But last night I was watching the stream. I was watching the live stream of the people arriving and stuff like that. So, that's that. What I've been doing lately... I've been thinking about doing also different types of videos. I mention this every video because I only do the book podcast and I also only do the rant reviews. I've been looking into getting a camera, which I am filming on a camera right now. But it's a big ass camera. Like, I can't see myself, which I want a camera where I can see myself because I genuinely don't know what I fucking look like right now. Like, I could be literally, something could be dripping out of my mouth or my nose and I wouldn't know. And that's really annoying. Peace and love. I gotta know if I look good, you know what I mean? And it's a big ass camera. I don't know the name of the camera. It's a Sony camera that we've had for years. I've mentioned it before. And there's no microphone slot. I cannot put a microphone into the camera. So the videos that I film on the camera, I have to film them sitting down at my PC where I have a USB microphone standing right here. So that you can actually hear me properly. And so I've been looking into getting a little digital camera so I can, with like a microphone slot that I can put a microphone in, so I have like everything in one, so I wouldn't just be forced to do the videos here, because I could film them on my phone, but I don't have any storage on my phone. And that's also the reason there is no part 2 to the Throne of Glass video that I have done before, which fits because we're talking about Sarah J. Maas today. People ask me sometimes, is there going to be a part 2? That video is 4 hours long. Did you actually watch that? Like, I don't believe, like, 4 hours is a lot. Like, I watch 4-hour videos. Peace and love. Like, I don't care. I watch 10-hour videos. But 4 hours, like, I'm really impressed. Like, I feel very honored, you know, I get a little bit blushing. But the reason that hasn't happened yet is just because The last one I recorded on my phone, and it was such a pain in the ass. And then the part 2 I already started recording, also on my phone, but I don't have any storage, so I need to stop filming, get it off my phone, start filming again. It's just a lot of work. And if I had a camera that with a microphone, with an SD card that has so much storage, I could just put it up and film it in like one go, basically. Not because it's gonna be a couple hours long, probably like 6 hours, I think. But is anyone actually gonna watch that? I'm gonna do it. I don't care. You can watch it or you don't. I'm gonna upload it regardless. But I've been wanting to get a camera, and so please turn off the ad blocker is what I'm trying to say. You should also turn off the ad blocker because I don't want to go to work anymore, and I want to quit my job. Peace and love. I hope no one watches this that I work with, but cashiering, I just can't do it anymore. I get so aggravated with people. It's not even like the task of doing it. Like, I'll do it, you know, whatever. I need money, but just everyone who's worked retail or customer service knows what the fuck I'm talking about. Fuck the people that come in. Y'all are so... Like, can I just have a nice transaction for once? How many times a day do I have to have an argument with people because it's the first time that they've ever gone shopping or something? I don't really fucking know, but please... Please help me. And you know what? If I didn't have to go to work anymore, I would also be able to read more, and I would be able to make more videos. So, if you really love me... No, I'm not gonna guilt trip you. You can turn the ad blocker on. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care. It's not that deep. So, now that I've rambled for a while, should we get into the topic? I'm sorry. I'm just like... My brain is so... is scrambled. Can you say that? I don't know if that's an idiom. My brain is scrambled today. I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't even know what day it is. I've been sitting here, I've been awake for so long, I don't even know what's going on. In case anyone's wondering, I'm gonna link the box down below. I'm gonna link my ears. I'm also wearing a clip. I don't know if you can see that because I can't see myself. And also, like, how the fuck would I be able to see it? I'm turning my head. And it's a little butterfly. How cute is that? And then I also bought an eyeshadow, a liquid eyeshadow. I've never had one before. And it's just glitter. It's from Rossmann, in case anyone cares. Oh my god. I can't even speak English. It's from Rossmann. From Rival de Loup. But it's just glitter. And there's a blue version of it too. This is like just the normal glitter one. There's like 4 different ones. There's a blue one too, and I went to 2 different Rossmanns and they didn't have it. They didn't have the blue one. It was sold out because I think that blue looks really nice with brown eyes, and purple also. I also bought a blue eyeliner, so I'm in my makeup era. I kind of want to do like lifestyle videos too. But like I don't have a life, so, and I don't have style, so that's kind of difficult. Let's talk about me. Let's talk about me, okay? The things are linked down below in case you're interested. I think they're so cute. Love wearing the Faye ears, so I think you would feel... I feel like I look much prettier with them on, you know what I mean? I think I would be much prettier if I wear a Faye. Which is great because we're talking about Sarah J. Maas today, and she turns people into Faye all the time. But before we talk about Sarah J. Maas, let's talk about Sophie. And I'm not going to say my last name, but Sophie. Honestly, Sophie. Let's talk about Honestly, Sophie. How I became a reader and also how I started this channel, because this is kind of all thanks to Sarah J. Maas. So it's important, and also we're going to go... gonna get to the announcement. Okay, are you excited? It's not even that, like, exciting. I'm, like, pretending like I'm talking to my 5 million subscribers. Guys, there's a big announcement. I can't say what it is. I'm dropping merch. No. We're not dropping merch. I'm broke. I don't have time. I don't have time and I don't have money. But I do want to do my like stickers and bookmarks at some point. Anyway, is anyone interested in that? Leave a comment down below. How did you become a reader? Tell me in the comments. I do read the comments, so you can definitely like. I will be reading. I will be looking. I always love waking up in the morning after I uploaded a video and I see like that people commented, and especially like people that comment like all the time. I'm like, oh my god, you're still watching? Get so excited. So Sophie, which is me, I've always been a reader. Guys, I have always been a reader. You remember those fairy books? I know they also exist in English, and there probably are of like American origin. It was like this very thin children's books about fairies, and every book was about a different type of fairy, and it was like 2 girls, whether they were friends or sisters or whatever, finding these different fairies and then doing something for them. I don't know what the book series is called. I just know it was fairy books, and I used to get them from the library, and I would always have to get like multiple because I would just read them in like an hour. And I don't know when this was. I don't know how old I was at this time. Like, maybe they were below my reading level. But I just always enjoyed books, like, when I was younger. And I've always been... I was never a kind of kid that was like, reading is weird. And it's for nerds. No. Sophie always loved reading. And, I don't know if anyone who's watching this had ever... or has ever had a phase where they were like, I think reading is weird. Or, if you look back now... Like, if your old self, like, couldn't believe that you are actually a reader now, because I hear that on TikTok all the time that people talk about that. Not for me. I've always loved fantasy, especially. I was never into rom-coms. I was into romance, but never into rom-coms because they were boring. I was always into fantasy. Avatar, Pirates of the Caribbean, all that shit was, like, hyperfixations of mine when I was young. I do love Rosie, though. I do love Rosie. I do. It's one of my favorite movies. That's an exception. Because Sam Claflin is in that. And he fucks. Okay? He's Finnick. I remember when he was cast as Finnick and everyone was like, he's a terrible cast. And I was saying, no, he's perfect. I knew it. Like, when I saw him, I was like, no, he's gonna slay. And he did. I don't even know what they thought Finnick would look like. I don't remember his description in the book. But Finnick was always my favorite, too. So... I was always a reader, but I was never like a reader that read a lot. Like, I enjoyed books and I would pick it up and I wouldn't mind reading something, but it wasn't like I actively seeked out books. And especially as I got older, I just kind of stopped reading. And I did make a podcast episode on The Hunger Games, because The Hunger Games, of course, was one of my hyperfixations too. I did read The Hunger Games. And I told the story about that in that video, in case you're interested. And I also read out my fanfiction, because I wrote Hunger Games fanfiction in that video. And I never wrote any other fanfiction. I did write Twilight fanfiction at some point, but I never read Twilight. I only watched the movies, and I only watched them once, and then I was like, I'm gonna write fanfiction, so that kind of flopped. And there's no evidence of that, so the only evidence there is me telling you this. Oh, I'm lying. I also wrote One Direction fanfiction. But that's not book related. I have the fanfiction. I have it. I'm gonna read it out at some point in my life, if you care. It's not that long. It's like 2 chapters of Harry Styles fanfiction. Because it was during the hype. Okay? I wanted a piece of the cake. Like, I thought I was the best writer there was. Like, I was like, that can't be that hard. Writing can't be that hard. As I have found out now in my adult life, reading all these booktok books, writing is hard for some people. Really hard. They don't know what punctuation is. I'm looking at you, authors of the Zodiac Academy. Do you know what a comma is? You don't. I know you don't. So, at this point, I'm not reading anything. I wanted to read Harry Potter, I think, during this time, because I was like, oh my god, I love reading after I read The Hunger Games, but I just read the first book and I never continued the series. I think I did lie about reading all of Harry Potter on multiple occasions, because when people, back in the day at least, when they heard that you're a reader, they would ask you, oh, have you read Harry Potter? That was like the go-to people would ask. And now I think it's like people say, oh, have you read Colleen Hoover? Which I regrettably have, so I can... Fuck that woman! Makes me so angry thinking about her. Anyway, we're not going off on a tangent. I also have a podcast episode about Colleen Hoover. Yeah, I talk about everyone, because I'm in everyone's business apparently. So, I also during this time actually read the Star-Crossed trilogy by Joseph and Angelini, and I don't know if anyone knows this. Okay, this is a series that was kind of known, but not known. Like, like, some people knew about it, but it was not, like, hyped. And I read it because we went on vacation, and my dad downloaded the first book because it was free on the bookstore, on Apple bookstore, I don't know what it's called. And he downloaded it and said, Sophie, I downloaded you a book to read for a vacation. And then I read it, and I was like, this is, like, so cool. This is, like, so cool, because it's a modern day with Greek mythology, romance, fantasy, and I don't know if it slayed that hard, because I had a really warped sense of self. What the fuck am I trying to say? I thought I saw everything differently when I was 14, obviously. Like, I don't know if I reread it now, if it would still slay, but at the time I thought it really slayed. And I read the whole trilogy, so the first one I didn't have, and then the second and the third book I bought the hardcover. I bought the hardcover, and this was still in my German era, so I didn't know any English. I did know English, but I just didn't know enough English to read in English, so I read everything in German. And thankfully, all of the books were out in German. And then later on, Josephine Angelini, the author, she wrote a spin-off for the Starcross trilogy, which I didn't read because I didn't fucking care anymore. But that was like recent, you know? They would like recently shit at that. But she also has a second series, maybe even more. But I know she has a second series because I read that. And I don't know what it's called. It's something about witches and alternate universes. And like the main character looks like the evil witch from the alternate universe. And I read that series and I didn't like it, and then I was still, for some reason, like felt the need to finish the series, even though I didn't really like it that much. And then I got the last book early in the German bookstore. And I did read that in English. That was like later on when I started reading in English. I did get it in English, and I posted it on Twitter, and I was like, at Josephine Angelini, look what I got in the bookstore early. And I now know that that's not a good thing when books are put out early because of sales or something. But then again, I'm in Germany, so like... they just didn't know. But it was like 1 week before release, and I tweeted at her and I said, I got the book early, I'm so excited, it was the last book in this trilogy. And she said, oh my god, I hope you enjoy it. Like, she replied. Josephine Angelini knows who I am. Yeah. But I didn't like it. I didn't like the series. I don't know why I finished it. I just felt like I felt a commitment to it when I was 14, which, you know, you don't have to do that. If you don't like the first book, though, you don't have to finish the series. Because I feel like a lot of people feel that pressure, and I never got the people that bought whole series at once. Like, if you buy a book set, a box set of a book trilogy, I get that more than if there's not a box set and you just buy the whole series already without having read the first book. Why would you do that? Like, read the first book and then you can buy the rest. Because isn't that just a waste of money? Anyway, to each their own. If you have the money, go spend it. You know, maybe I would actually be like that if I had money, but I don't. Because I'm a poor cashier. And people don't turn off their ad block. I'm kidding. I have ad block on my videos too. I get it, you know, I don't even want my own ads. I don't love myself that much. But I did read this. And still, it didn't spark anything in me. I must have been like 13 when I read that, you know. It didn't spark anything in me where I was like, I want to read more, even though I really loved that series. It wasn't until later when my boyfriend, and this must have been when I was 14, my boyfriend at the time, which is not my boyfriend now, but my ex-boyfriend, he went on vacation, and so we didn't see each other for 2 weeks, and I was so bored, because everyone was on vacation and I wasn't. It was summer holiday. I was just stuck in Germany, and I was living in the basement at the time. I had my room down in the basement, and it was really nice because the basement is like double or maybe even triple the size of my room now, but there are no windows. So I was just living in the dark like a fucking cockroach, and I had my own bathroom because my dad built me a bathroom. Slay. Like, I wish I could just do that. My dad slays, you know? And then I was like, never mind, I don't want to live here. Because I didn't have any fucking sunlight and I was depressed as fuck. But my mom randomly one day had brought me a book because she had, like, read it and thought, like, the back, and thought it would be something that I enjoyed. And at that time, I didn't read. And because I had read Graceling, not Graceling. Oh, now I spoiled it. Now I spoiled the book that got me into reading. I had read the Starcross trilogy, but it didn't spark anything in me. So I had that book that my mom bought me, which was Graceling, because now I already said it, by Christian Cashel, or whatever the fuck her name is. I had that in my shelf for the longest time. And then when my ex-boyfriend went on vacation, I was like, let's read. And I was 14 at the time. Let's just fucking read it. Why the fuck not, you know? And I read Graceling, and I was like, this shit fucking slaps. This is the best piece of fiction I've ever read in my life. That's not true. But, you know, when you're 14, you're a little bit crazy. And I was like, this has changed my life. This changed my life. And then I was really upset because the Graceling concept is that it has multiple books. I think at this point it's like 5 or 6 in that universe. But it's all standalones in the same universe. So characters make reappearances in the other books, but they're not the main characters. And I fucking hate that concept. It's the same as this one thing, the Cinder books. Cinder, I don't know the other names of the books. I read Cinder at some point. And then they are also all standalones within the same world, so characters make reappearances. I fucking hate that. I fucking hate that. It's not for me. And so I did read the other 2 Graceling books that were out at the time. The second one was something with fire, and the third one was something with blue, and you can read them in any order you like, because they have nothing to do with each other, because they're different characters in there, so you can read them in whatever order you like. And I don't even remember what my favorite was. I think the second one was my favorite, the fire one. It was really good, and I don't really know what it was about. I think it was like, people have magical colors. Sorry, I just can't get comfortable. I'm like subtly trying to readjust myself. It's not working. Give me a second. I don't remember what I was saying. I don't remember what I was saying. I was talking about Graceling. People have different colored eyes, and if they do have different colored eyes, they have a magical ability, but they don't know what that magical ability is until they find out. Like, it's different from person to person. And so I don't even remember the characters' names, but I'm sure I would if I reread it. Like, if you showed me the book. And what did I just say? I would remember the characters' names if I reread the book. Girl, yeah, because you would fucking read it. Oh my god. Anyway, that is what got me into reading. It was Graceling, the first book in the Graceling world, trilogy, whatever it's called. Kristen Cashore, if you're watching right now, you are my queen. You are the reason I'm sitting here today. Kinda. Because we are talking about Sarah J. Maas, and she is the reason I'm sitting here today. But that's what ignited my love for reading. And so when I was 14, and I first got into reading, I think pretty much everyone can relate, because I think this is a universal experience. When you get into reading for the first time, you just read every fucking book. You just read everything, because you don't know what you like yet. People read left and right every book that gets recommended to them from BookTok, like the BookTok classics at this point, which are like Throne of Glass, Shatter Me, Red Queen. I don't know. Those are the books that you will read. Those are probably the first books you will read. Colleen Hoover, of course, sadly. Fuck that woman. That's just mandatory. Whenever I say her name, I have to say fuck her, you know? Manifesting something. For example, her losing her book deal. No, then she wouldn't have work, but she would still get paid for the books that she has published. I think that's more than enough. Also, oh, you know what? In the It Ends With Us movie, they casted the Atlas, the good guy. They casted him, and he looks not like Atlas. I heard there were a lot of people complaining, but I don't care that much. Will I be watching? I will be watching. However, of course, I will pay to watch the movie. Like, of course, I would never, like, watch it any other way than legally. And give Colleen Hoover money there focus on watching her movie. Like, of course I would do that. Like, I would never do it any different way. At the time, there was no BookTok. You know, when I was 14, I'm 22 now. So I'm old. Every time, you know, I mentioned every time, it was 8 years ago that I started getting into reading, and at the time we didn't have BookTok, but we did have BookTube, and so there were, Sasha is like the one that I loved the most, the one BookTube that I loved the most. I don't know her YouTube handle, Sasha Reads, I don't know, but I watched her all the time. She was like the biggest one. She also had interviews with Sarah J. Maas and everything, so she was really well known. We had Christine. I don't know their fucking names. I don't know, like, I know their first names, but I don't know their YouTube names. Christine and her 2 friends, like the dude and the other girl that always made videos with her, and the other girl that also made videos with her. That they were like a group of 4, and then also the girl that reads all the Shadowhunter books. What's her name? She had a boyfriend, and then they broke up. Emma, that's her name. And I don't really, did she break up with her boyfriend? I think she has a new boyfriend now, or a new partner. I don't know who she's with. It's none of my business. So she was really popular. They were all really popular. It was kind of like the group, and then there were conventions where they would all meet up. Of course, there were also other booktubers at the time, but those were like the most popular ones. And they would get so many fucking views. And I remember at the time thinking, I can do this, and I never did, you know. I'm always like, when I have a hyperfixation, I'm like, I can do this. Like, me being hyperfixated on Avatar, I'm like, I can do the special effects for that. I can do that. Sure. If I tried, I would be able to do it better. But alas, I can't do it better, and I can't do it at all, actually. Booktubing? I mean, I'm doing it right fucking now, so I can kind of do that. I mean, I'm trying at least. Whether I'm good at it or not is up to you to decide. But I watched them religiously, especially Sasha. I watched religiously. The others I didn't really care about. Emma, she's the Shadowhunter girl. I didn't really watch her videos that much because she talked about Shadowhunter all the time, and I just never read that at the time. When I was watching, that was like the perfect time to get into books, or when I was reading. Sorry, reading was the perfect time to get into books because all of the dystopian movies were releasing. That included the Hunger Games, and that also included the Shadowhunter movies, the Maze Runner, Divergent, and all of that. And I had one designated friend that I always went to the cinema with to watch all of these movies. And I remember she had read Shadowhunter trilogy, not trilogy, girl. That's not a trilogy, it's a series. I don't even know how many books there are on it. It's on my, what's it called? I've had this thought before. I still don't know what it's called. Windowsill? Someone commented it once. I don't remember. Windowsill. Whatever. Underneath my window. It's where the Shadowhunter books are, because I want to do a reading series on that. And I would love to do that, but for that, I want to have a camera. A small camera that I can take with me to make reading vlogs. You know how fun that would be? How fun would that be, guys, if I had a little camera to do vlogs on? If I get paid, I will get that. But not, like, if I get YouTube money, which is going to take, like, 4 months until I get paid from YouTube. So, because you have to reach a minimum... I'm not allowed to say this. I think you can Google this. You have to, in Germany, you have to reach a minimum of 70 euros in a month to be paid by YouTube. And if you don't reach 70 euros in a month, then you have to wait until it adds up to that. So... if you don't make it the first month, if you only make 20 euros, and then the second month you also make 20 euros, and the third you also, you know, you have to wait until you go above 70 to get paid by YouTube. And so if you're a smaller channel, that is probably the case. You don't get paid every month. And 70 euros, quite frankly, isn't enough to buy a camera. The first ever guy that I stand, the first ever book character that I stand was Aaron Warner from the Shatter Me series by Tahara Mafi. The series was fully released when I read it, and I remember that I ordered it, and at the time I wasn't reading in English yet. So I made my mom take me to the bookstore, because I also didn't order from Amazon for some reason. Support locals. But they would literally source the books from Amazon, so whatever. I don't know how that works. I don't know how bookstore works. Bookstore is the girl. My god. Hier steht das Es muss mit. But I remember getting the first book, and I've talked about this before. The German covers for the Shatter Me series, I'm sure they've changed it now. The original ones were so ugly, and I don't actually have those books anymore. I sold them for some fucking reason. Should have kept them. The original, but maybe I'll get them in English. I want to reread them, and then I would reread it in English anyway, so I would have to get it new anyway. But I read the first book, and I was obsessed with it, and then I literally made my mom take me like 2 days later when I had finished the book to order the other 2 books. But the first book in the Shadow Me series, I didn't really like that. I just really wanted to read about Warner. And I did, and I fucking loved Warner. You know, he was my first big book crush that I had. And then going off of that, I read everything that I could fucking get. I read everything. Red Queen, I loved the Red Queen. What else did I love? And Ember in the Ashes, I loved. You know, Legend by Marie Lu. I read, and I did a presentation on the first book in class one time. And then she also published, Marie Lu has published a lot of books. She also published The Young Elites, which no one ever talks about, which I kind of want to reread, because that was like very different from all of the other YA books. The main character becomes the villain. The girl becomes the villain. It was really interesting. Marie Lu has been slaying. You know, I don't know any of her other books, but the ones that I did read slayed. So, what else? Nothing. You know, I was just in the bubble. In the dystopian, especially fantasy bubble. But, of course, because I was in that bubble, I heard about this one series called Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Which, by the way, her name is Sarah Maas. She does not have J in her name. It's from her grandma. I heard that once. I don't know if that's true. Allegedly. Or her mom. I don't know. She just added that in honor. I I don't know, actually, I might be lying. Don't take it as a fact. But if it is true, then slay. Why do I know that? So, I read everything, and the first book that I didn't like, actually, before we talk about Throne of Glass, was Traitor to the Throne by Alwyn Hamilton, which is the second book in her Rebel of the Sand series, which is a Middle Eastern fantasy. And that was like probably when I was 15. No, I was still 14 at the time. Or maybe I was 15. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't. And I read that book, and I remember that being the first book that I fucking hated. I fucking hated that. Thought it was so stupid and didn't make any sense. Not even that the writing was bad, but just I remember in the first book there was a love interest, and in the second book the main character gets put somewhere in like a castle in a harem, and she can't get out. And harem, how do you say it? Reverse harem? How do you say it? Because that's like a thing. I don't know how you speak English, so. But she gets put somewhere and she can't get out, and then you don't see the love interest, and the main character wasn't that interesting. I hated that, and that was the first time I ever considered writing a proper, thought-out review. I was literally annotating and taking notes, but I didn't end up doing it because I was embarrassed. So at the time, as I said, we didn't have booktok. I was on Tumblr. My Tumblr is still alive and well. I don't use it, but it still exists. And I also made 2 failed Bookstagram accounts where I just posted pictures of books. Failed because I can't commit. And I also started writing my own books. Multiple ideas that I had. And I don't think that those exist anywhere anymore. Anything that I wrote originally doesn't exist anymore. And I also did think I wrote it in German, so I would have to translate it. But anyway, I did write books. There are book ideas in my head. It really hurts. Should I take it off? No, I want to keep it on because it's so cute. But there are ideas in my head for books. But I have said numerous times that since I'm the book hater queen, I'm the book hater club president. I'm the president of book haters. That I would write a parody book first before I ever would even consider writing something proper, which I don't think I would be good at necessarily. I'm not saying that I can do it better. Sometimes I am, but like, you know, I don't really know. Whatever. So, what's going on with Throne of Glass? Let's go back to that. Queen of Shadows is the 4th book in that series, and it was released in 2015, which means that I did start reading Throne of Glass when I was 14 in 2015, because I read the first 3 books in German, and Queen of Shadows had not released yet. And at the time, I'm pretty sure that there was no announcement for when the German translated version of Queen of Shadows would come out. So I had to make a decision, and the decision was I will buy Queen of Shadows and I will read it in English. And this was my first ever English book that I read, Queen of Shadows. And you just had to be there. Every time I mention Queen of Shadows, I mention this. You just had to be there at the time. You will never be able to relate if you weren't there. What a feeling it was to go from, what the fuck, Air of Fire, waiting for Queen of Shadows, and then Queen of Shadows releasing. And reading that and being like, oh my fucking god. Queen of Shadows and Akomoth are Sarah J. Maas's best books, period. And I don't think she'll ever, like, maybe the next Crescent City book, but they're equal, I think. Queen of Shadows and Akomoth are her best books, Peace and Love. And she was on her Slay era. She was in her Slay era when they came out. I don't really know what happened after that. And I mean, before that, we can't really say anything, but I don't know what happened after that. So it was my first English book. I started reading in English after that. I actually hated Ekotar. I remember because I loved Throne of Glass so much, I was like, okay, I want to read more by this author. I'm gonna admit it, you know, that I stand Sarah J. Maas. I stand her very hard. At the time, I wanted to read more of her work, and so I got Ekotar, and I fucking hated Ekotar. I could not finish that book for the life of me. I thought it was so boring. There's a picture of me at the hairdresser, taking it to the hairdresser with me, not like picking it up once, I remember, because it was just so bored. I didn't want to read it. And it wasn't until Reese showed up later on in the book, like when she was under the mountain, that I was like more interested in it, because Tamlin was just so fucking boring in my head. I didn't care about that man at all, but Reese, I did care about him. At the time, now we don't care. We don't care about that man anymore. He's a piece of shit. Okay? So, I stand Akomoth very, very hard. I stand it very, very hard. and I pre-ordered it. I got it. I did a little book shooting with it. I don't have these pictures anymore. I looked for them. I got the hard drive. I was looking for them. I couldn't find them. I'm sure I still have them somewhere, but I just can't find them. So I made my Tumblr. You could have like multiple Tumblr account. Tumblr. What the fuck, Sophie? Slow down. Multiple Tumblr. Multiple accounts on the platform T. Period. And you under the same email. And so I made a second account because my first one was Adoring Lukey, and it was 5 sauce themed, because it was a 5 sauce down at some point. And the second one that I made was named Manon Blackbeak, after Manon, because I stand Manon so hard. I remember reading her in Airfire when she first came around, and I fucking loved her so hard. I don't think I've ever stand a female character as hard as Manon. Peace and love. But she was ruined, and we'll talk about it when we get to the Sergeant Moss part about Manon. We'll talk about her a little bit. But I named my account after her, made my bio like something about some quote from Manon or whatever. And also I had a Twitter that was named Court of Dreams. And then I had my background as the Akotar Mountains, the Reese's tattoo. So I was really deep into it. I standed at that point, like when Ekimov released and I read that, I was more into Ekimov than I was into Throne of Glass, I think. That I like that more than Throne of Glass, essentially, because in Throne of Glass I didn't really stan any of the characters except Aelin and Manon and Sam. But then Manon I didn't really like the way her character developed, and I didn't really stan anyone else. So that was that. But another book that I was really into at the time, and that I still am into now, is Six of Crows. Six of Crows is my favorite book. Period. But it's been a while since I read it. I don't want to reread it. Because I'm afraid that I won't like it anymore. But I don't think that would just happen, because I really like... I go hard for Six of Crows. But now, I think it's time for an announcement. Because we're kind of finished with my reading story, I'll tell you in a second how I came to make this channel, this book channel. But before I do that, I want to make a quick announcement for all of my stans, for all of my book haters. I was thinking, like, do my viewers need a name? Not necessarily, but if you had a name, it would be the book haters. You would be book haters, and I'm the book hater president. I'm the president of the club, of this country, of this union. I don't know what a union is. So the announcement that I have to make today is... Okay, where do I start? Basically, I was thinking, because I fucking hate reading. Peace and love, I don't like reading anymore. It takes me so long to finish Kingdom of the Wicked, and it's not a long book, and it's easy writing, and it still takes me forever to read because I have no passion to be reading at the moment, because I just don't enjoy what I'm reading. And the only things that I do enjoy is like having finished it and then sitting down and being able to talk about it in retrospect. But for me to be able to do that, I need to read it and I need to get through it first. That's the hardest part, because I really, really enjoy ranting and sitting here and making the videos. That I enjoy, but the reading part, I don't enjoy that. And that's not really the purpose of this channel. Like, that's kind of stupid if you're a booktuber and you don't like reading. So I've come to the decision that I will be deleting my channel and not be uploading anymore. This is going to be, like, the King of the Wicked review is going to be my last review. And after that, I think I'm going to try to do different content, more lifestyle content. And if you believe that, then you're fucking stupid, because I'm just lying. I lied, of course. Of course I'm not doing that, bitch! I was like, I'm not doing that. That's not gonna be my last rant review. I'm always gonna rant. The announcement that I actually want to make is I have decided that after my Kingdom of the Wicked review, I will be rereading Ekimov. I will be skipping Akotar, but I will be rereading Ekimov, and I will be doing a reading vlog. Maybe I'll get a camera soon, because I've been thinking about getting one secondhand, a smaller one, and that would be a little bit more, a little bit cheaper. But I have to see, because I have not been feeling passionate about the things that I read forever, if you know me and you watch my channel. But I do love the ranting, and so Ekimov was a book that I loved so much, and that I reread multiple times. And the last time I reread it was probably when I was 18, so that was 4 years ago. And I don't remember. I remember like scenes, the important scenes, in a way, if you know what I mean. If you know, you know the important scenes. But I don't really remember the plot, and I don't want to reread Echo War or anything else. I just want to read Echo Moth, because that book is so special to my heart, or was so special to my heart. I don't know how I will like it now when I reread it, but I will be making a review for that too. It just won't be like a rant review like I normally do with sitting down. It will be more of like a reading vlog and commenting on it as I read it. So that is the announcement I wanted to make. I just wanted to tell you, after Kingdom of the Wicked, I'm not reading a new book. I'm rereading Echo Moth and making a review for that. And I'm really excited to read it. I'm genuinely excited to read that, and I hope that maybe like, I just want to see how I like it now, and I also hope that I will be maybe get a little bit of like a spark again, because it will remind me of how much I loved the book, and how much I can actually love and enjoy reading a book when I actually care about it. You know what I mean? So Echo Moth review coming soon. I want to see how long it takes me to read that, because it's a longer book, small font, and we'll see, you know, because reading short books takes me forever, so maybe this will speed up the process. So I'm sorry if you got scared. I don't think anyone got scared, but I will be ranting always and forever. And then after I come off, I don't know what I'll read yet, but something for my physical TBR, I think, because I have a big physical TBR and I gotta start reading some of that. I just don't know what. Peace and love. Can you see the books? Maybe, I don't know. We'll think about it when the time comes, okay? Let me finish Kingdom of the Wicked and then start Echo Moth, and then we'll see. So, back to the topic. I'm sorry. That was the announcement. Back to the topic. After a while of me reading when I was younger, I just kind of stopped reading. Like, there was not a particular reason for me. I just kind of, I read the popular series and I never read, well, I did read some niche things, like Starquest and Graceling was, it was known, but it wasn't like super hyped up like some of the other books were. I just kind of stopped reading. Like, I grew up and I was busy with other things, and I was just like, ugh, I don't really know, I don't really have a passion for it anymore, and then I just stopped. And I remember that I always did read the Sarah J. Maas books though. I remember going to get the last Throne of Glass book on release day in the store. I went on release day to the store and picked it up with my boyfriend. And so the Throne of Glass series, the Ekotar series, and also Crescent City, just Sarah J. Maas books in general, I kept reading even after I stopped reading completely. No other author I kept reading. Nothing. Literally no other book I read other than Sarah J. Maas, because I was always, even my mom knows who Sarah J. Maas is, because I would talk about her so much, you know, when I was younger. So whenever I read a book, she's like, oh, is it by Sarah? And I'm like, no, Mom, this is not by Miss Sarah. She's not writing that much. So now the question rises, Sophie, why did you make your channel? Like, if you don't like reading that much, I do like reading, I just don't read that much. Why did you make your channel? In case you don't know, my first ever video that I made is about Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. Crescent City 1, whatever the fuck the other title is, House of something, I don't really know. I heard that Miss Sarah was announcing a new series, which was Crescent City, and I was like, okay, slay. I pre-ordered the book online because I was still at this point in Sarah J. Maas stan. I had read her all of the other books, and I think at this time Throne of Glass was finished. Maybe Throne of Glass wasn't finished. No, it was. Everything was finished. All of the other two series were finished. And Crescent City, I was like, okay, I'm interested. Like, it's gonna be another series by her. I've so far basically enjoyed everything I've read. Let's order the book. I pre-ordered it. I read it when it came out. I was still in school. So I must have been 19. Oh my god. I was a baby. And I read it. And I finished it. And I was like, huh, what the fuck was this? I was literally like flabbergasted by the end of it, to a point where, because I didn't have any friends, and I still don't have any friends that read, like in real life. No one that I know reads young adult, besides one girl from uni that I know, but she don't read Colleen Hoover, so we're not on the same topic. But I didn't know anyone to talk to about this book that I just finished, that I genuinely thought was ass. Like, you can go and watch the first 2 videos actually that I ever uploaded were about Crescent City. I am not going to rewatch them. I've said numerous times again, that's so cringe. Like, people always say they hate their first video because it's so cringe, but I'm sitting there like full body shot. Like, why am I sitting like that? Like on a chair, like this. Oh my fucking god. And the thing is, I didn't read the book and take notes while I was reading because I was just reading it for myself. Like, I was just ready to be served another like fey porn book. And then what the fuck I read, and then what I read was like, what the fuck did I just read? I genuinely didn't know. It just genuinely didn't make any sense to me, what I read. And I thought about it for a few days, and I was like, I don't know, I have to talk about it. And so I sat down and I took notes, in retrospect, because I didn't go back into it, just kind of what I noticed and how I didn't like it, and sat down on that fucking chair, looking busted, straight out of high school, just graduated, and I was like, hey guys, today I'm gonna be fucking mad. And then I filmed that video, and I think I edited it on my phone, on my iPhone 6s Plus, which is the best iPhone ever made. And at that time my phone was already like malfunctioning and really slow, and battery was heating up and everything, so it wasn't like really working correctly anymore. And I filmed this long ass video, edited it on my phone because I didn't have a PC yet, or a laptop or anything, on my phone on iMovie, and then uploaded it overnight because our uploading speed was so slow that it took multiple hours to upload, which now it takes like an hour maximum to upload a video for me, even if they're a little bit longer, which is insane that it took that long back then. Went to bed, woke up in the morning and saw that the video was up, and I was like, okay, what now? Oh, what now? I don't know what to do now. And I just kind of left it, and then, you know, it's a two-part video, so one video and then another video about the topic. Uploaded that, and then I don't actually remember this time, if I'm being honest. Like, I have a really bad long-term memory. I don't remember how many views I got. It must have been like 100 views maybe, and I don't really know. But after a week, I told my boyfriend, because I didn't tell him before. There was one incident where I really wanted to become a vlogger in high school, and I was recording vlogs on my phone, or like clips on my phone of me vlogging, and I didn't have a channel or anyone that would listen, and I wasn't doing anything interesting because I was still in high school, and I live in rural Germany. So I was filming, and I was talking English in those videos, and then at some point my boyfriend was on my phone, and he wanted to look something up, like a photo I had taken or something, so he goes into my photos, which is not an issue, but I had forgotten to delete, because I always deleted them later, the videos. I had forgotten to delete them, and he saw it, and he watched it, and he was like, what the fuck is this? And not in like a I'm making fun of you way, but just in like a confused way, like, why are you in your car speaking English? Like, who are you? What is this? Like, what are you doing? And I was so embarrassed. And he told me, I think you should, like, if you want to do that, like, I support you, like, you should do YouTube videos, but don't do them in your car because that's dangerous. And I was like, okay, bitch, whatever. Who are you to tell me what to do? And so after a week of uploading Crescent City, I confessed to my boyfriend, and I said I uploaded, or I have to show you something. I showed him my phone, and that I had uploaded 2 videos, and he was like, oh my god, that's so cool. Like, he's been supportive. He's my supporter since day one. He always tells me, you need to upload more videos, you need to do a rant review, like, your fans are waiting. And I'm like, bitch, like, no one's waiting. You know, no one's waiting. Like, he hypes me up a lot. He's my manager. He's like, let's check your Social Blade, and I don't fucking know how Social Blade works. Like, I know what I don't fucking know the stats. He's like, oh, those are good stats, and I'm like, okay. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm just happy when someone comments like, this was funny. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I fucking want, to be fucking funny. So he's the #1 supporter, but that's also that's the reason I'm telling this, is that he's also the reason I kept uploading new videos, because I hadn't planned on that. I hadn't planned on making the Crescent City videos, and so I didn't even think about what would happen after, like me picking up reading as a hobby again and reading more and making videos on it. That was never in my head. That was never the plan. I just literally wanted to sit down and talk about Crescent City because I was so mad at it, because I had loved her books for so long and didn't like Crescent City, and I felt betrayed by Mrs. Sarah. So That's why I made that video, and that's how the channel came to be. And then my boyfriend said you should do more, and then I did more, and now we're here. Now we're sitting here. I know in 2020 I uploaded my videos, and 2021 was the worst year of my life, and I uploaded like 3 videos. And then in 2022 I started picking it up again, and now we're in 2023, and we're slaying, and we're the book hater army. We're an army. No, I want to be the president of the club. An army sounds like that's BTS, you know. Love you. Butter. Now, of course, I've already been talking for like 50 million years, and we still haven't talked about Sarah J. Maas. That just seems to be my hobby. Talking out of my ass and talking for hours, I guess. Listen, no one listens to me in real life. No one cares about this. Like, this is my only outlet, okay? So, now that you know how this channel has come to be and why I'm here, let's talk about Sarah J. Maas. By the way, I never planned on making rant reviews, you know? It just kind of happened. Like, I remember my first, or maybe it wasn't, but when I posted a review again, it was about Cruel Prince. That was like my first one, I think. I'm not sure. I didn't like the book, I just didn't like it. And that's kind of like how it happened that I have to take them off, by the way. Sorry. I can't do it anymore. Now that we're getting to the main topic, I have to take them off, but it's just, I can't do it anymore. So, what did I say? The rant reviews, they just kind of happened, okay? It's not like, I always say this, I never go into books thinking I'm gonna hate this. I always go into them with an open mind, but I'm just always disappointed. So I had an AI write me a little bit of a Sarah J. Maas summary, so we know who this person even is. I'm now seeing her birthday, so I have to Google what her sign is. Sarah J. Maas, should I just read it out? Sarah J. Maas is a popular American author of young adult fantasy novels. She was born on March 5th, 1986, which means she's a Pisces, which I just looked up. Of course I knew that. I just don't know when the signs are, I'm sorry. I just know me. I'm a Capricorn. Capricorn, Libra rising. And also Aries is the other one. My big 3. Capricorn, Aries, Libra. Can you tell? So she's a Pisces. And she was born in New York. And she grew up in Pennsylvania. Which I have mentioned again before. Whenever I hear Pennsylvania, I don't know where that... Like, give me a US map, I don't know where that is. I think of Transylvania. Because it just sounds so similar. So, is Dracula from Pennsylvania? Or Transylvania? Maybe both? Maybe his brother is from Pennsylvania? All of her books are New York Times bestsellers, as far as I'm concerned. One is questionable, which we'll talk about in a second, because I never hear anyone talk about this book. I don't even know if people are aware who are watching this that this exists. This AI also said, her books typically feature strong female characters and intricate, immersive fantasy worlds, with complex politics, magic systems, and relationships. And that's kind of that's a summary. That's all her basic information. She has a husband, and he's a insert of Reese, because he's tall, he has dark hair, he has blue eyes as far as I'm concerned. She has 2 children. Oh, she does have 2 children. Did she post their names? I want to know what her children's names are. She has a son and a daughter. Oh, and she's also Jewish, in case anyone cares, because she does include in Throne of Glass, Aelin brings stones to a grave, and I've heard that that is a Jewish tradition, and I didn't know that, but she is Jewish. What the fuck is her child's name? Maybe she didn't say, actually. Oh, okay, Sloane. Her daughter is named Sloane, which, okay, that's a nice name, I guess. I don't really know. I don't really judge Americans for their names, because they just be naming their children anything at this point. Peace and love. Oh my god, her husband also has an Instagram account. His name is Josh. Do you think he reads her books? I'm not sure. I don't think he does, actually. By the way, I didn't even mention this. I have the Throne of Glass coloring book. Does anyone else have that? That's a thing. There's a Throne of Glass coloring book, and there's also a booktok coloring book, but I don't have that one. And the Throne of Glass one that I have, I got that when I was really obsessed. Like when it released, it actually has me colored in pages from me with watercolor. It looks really bad. I made it horrible. Taran! Oh yeah, his name is Taran. Taran sounds like a little bit like, from the writing, it sounds like Tarzan. So, okay, I'm not gonna comment on the babies' names because they're babies. Just so you know. So she has a daughter named Sloane and a son named Taran, and her husband is named Josh. Josh W. Oh my god, his name in his bio was Josh W. So her name isn't even Maas? Maas? Sarah J. W? More like Sarah J. L. I need to go to bed. What books has Miss Sarah J. L. written in her life? Here is a brief overview of her publishing history. So we know she has the Throne of Glass series with 7 books, which also include, which started in 2012 and ended in 2018. The worst book in that series is probably Throne of Glass, and then I would put Crown of Midnight, then I would put Tower of Dawn, Heir of Fire, Empire of Storms, Kingdom of Ash, Queen of Shadows. So Throne of Glass I think is the worst book in the series, and Queen of Shadows is the best one. And I would put Tower of Dawn above the first and the second book, because I remember, peace and love, I fucking hate Chaol. Chaol can die in a hole, I don't care. He was never a likable character, and I've started filming my second part of the Throne of Glass video already, as I mentioned, and I partially edited that, and it's literally just me. Whenever Chaol comes up, I'm just so angry. I get so angry because he's so infuriatingly stupid and a bitch. So, his book, however, I remember actually enjoying the book. After you get into it, it was like fine, but I didn't reread it for my video because it's at the end of the day. I don't really know why they did that. Does anyone actually know why she published a random book about him? I still don't know. But whatever. We're not here to talk about Chaol. Her other series is of course A Court of Thorns and Roses. She has 4 books in that series, or 5, because there's also a novella. It started in 2015, so the year that Queen of Shadows released, and it ended in 2021, or the last book released in 2021, 2021, whatever. Last 2 years ago. It released 2 years ago. It was A Court of Silver Flames, which was, of course, Nesta's book. So the main characters from the series, her sister, got her own book. And I think there's 2 more books announced in that series, which I'm curious how she's going to do it. I'm not going to be talking about the events that happen in Crescent City, because that is a spoiler for anyone who hasn't read it, obviously. But just so you know, in case you haven't read her books, if you wanna, don't read Crescent City last, read everything else before. You have to read everything else before, at least before the next book comes out. So Crescent City is 2 books. The first one came out in 2020, and the second book came out last year, I think. And I have reviews on both of those, of course. And I have a review on A Court of Silver Flames too. If I had to rank A Court of Silver, the ACOTAR series, I would probably go first one is the worst, followed by A Court of Silver Flames. Actually, I'm not including novella, which interestingly enough, I looked up the Goodreads ratings for these books, and all of her books are above 4 stars, besides the novella in the ACOTAR series, which is A Court of Frost and Starlight, which is literally just a Christmas book about the characters. And it's confusing to me because so many people always demand like cutesy novellas from their main characters, like them just doing normal stuff and hanging out, which is what A Court of Frost and Starlight, these names are too difficult. Which is the novella is. It's just a Christmas story, like a magical fairy Christmas, because they obviously don't say Christmas. They don't celebrate Christmas. They don't, because they're in a fairy world. And then it still has the lowest rating with 3.8 stars. I looked it up. And what's also interesting is that her fucking other novel that she has, which please let me know if you know that this is a thing. It's a Catwoman book. It's called Catwoman Soul Stealer. It was published in 2018. I never read it. And also I thought it was, well, maybe it wasn't published in 2018. But that's what it said, because I felt like it was published earlier than that. I never read it, but even that has 4 stars. Like, you know? And of course, by the way, she's also written The Assassin's Blade, which is a collection of novellas from the Throne of Glass world, which include Sam, and Sam is my favorite character in the series. So, rip. He is dead. Spoiler. You would know. You would know. You would find out very quickly that he's dead. So, does anyone know about the Catwoman book? It was like I think it was like a charity thing where different authors said that they would write a book for this, whatever it is, like charity thing. I'm not sure. And Leigh Bardugo wrote a Wonder Woman book. Marie Lu, who we mentioned earlier, she wrote a Batman book. And then there was another author that wrote another book, but I don't remember who the fuck that was. So, and also I don't care. I don't care, but I never read that. Did anyone read that? I don't really know why she did that. Her books have been translated into over 35 languages, which is a lot. And so, of course, because her books are so popular, the question arises, where the fuck is the TV show? Or the movie? Where the fuck is it? Where is it? So, in 2016, it was announced that the Throne of Glass series had been optioned for a television adaptation by the Mark Gordon Company. However, in 2018, it was announced that the television rights had reverted back to Maas, and there have been no further updates on the project since then. So, what I know about this is that there was an ominous picture of script, okay? And I have it here, and the show was supposedly going to be called Queen of Shadows, so like the 4th book. And the pilot episode would have been called Selena, and it was written by Kyra Snyder, whoever the fuck Kyra Snyder is. And this was posted by someone, somewhere. Kyra Snyder. She's an author? The Handmaid's Tale? I never watched that. The 100? Well, okay. So, we know who Kyra Snyder is. But I don't really care. But she wrote the pilot episode, and we never heard anything about that again. So, I didn't know that the rights had reverted back to Maas. To Sarah, of course. Which probably just means that they were working on it and then nothing happened, and so they gave her the rights back in case she wanted to give them to someone else. But also I thought there was Hulu. I don't know who the Mark Gordon Company is. I thought Hulu wanted to make it into a TV show, which I don't know what Hulu is either because I am not American. But Hulu does have a play in this, and what the AI wrote me, because, you know, AIs are just amazing. I love them. Thank you for your service. In 2018, it was also announced that the A Court of Thorns and Roses series had been optioned for a television series by Hulu, with Ron Moore, known for his work on Battlestar Galactica and Outlander. With who the fuck knows what Battlestar Galactica is? I only know Gattaca with Jude Law. Oh, I love Jude Law. He was so hot. Is he still hot? Yeah, I would still fuck. He's a grown man, Sophie. Guys, I need to sleep. Sorry. We're almost done. Ron Moore attached to develop the series. However, there have been no further updates on the project since this initial announcement. So, the thing is about these TV shows and TV rights and also movie rights, a lot of companies will buy them and then they won't do anything. They just kind of want to have the exclusive rights to them. It's the same with Lightlark. Even though Miss Alex Astor has said that she will be announcing something related to the movie soon, that it just happens that studios buy the rights. I mean, the Red Queen rights were also sold, I'm pretty sure. And then nothing happens because they don't actually go through with it. They just want to have the rights to it in case they do want to go through with it, but they don't. Which doesn't make any sense to me why they wouldn't turn ECOTAR or Throne of Glass into anything, like a movie or a show, doesn't matter, because that would be a hit. And if you want to hire me, you can. If anyone wants to hire me, just let me fucking know. Just so I don't have to go cashiering anymore, because I need money, but I don't want to, you know, We've talked about it. You know what? You know how I feel. So now the only series that's left is Crescent City, and I found out through the AI, which I didn't know before, that in March 2021 it was announced that the Crescent City series had been optioned for a television series by the same studio behind the hit show Stranger Things, with Sarah serving as an executive producer on the project. However, there have been no further updates on the project since the initial announcement. So basically all of the 3 works that she has have been, have been looked at by film and television, but nothing has happened. So if you're watching this and you work behind the scenes and you know more than me, please comment down below, because I don't know more than this. And I don't think that this is so important, because at the end of the day, if something happens, something happens. And I feel like I'm so far away. If nothing happens, then nothing happens. So that is the tea on her TV, the tea on TV, on the TV shows. I'm sure that at some point something will come of it, and I will be seated, I will be watching, just like I was watching Shadow and Bone, but they fucked that up. They fucked that up. Are you embarrassed? Like, the people who made that, are you embarrassed? I would be embarrassed. I would be embarrassed if I was Lee Bardugo, because I would just be so sad that they made this out of my creation. But anyway, since Sarah J. Maas is so popular, of course, there has been a lot of controversy around her. Yeah? There's going to be controversy around every popular person, just like me. People have said that I'm quirky, trying to be quirky, as I read out to you, which is true. The rumors are true, I'm trying to be quirky, I'm trying to be different. People have said that I'm rude, which is also true, and that I'm a book hater, which is true, because I'm the president of the book hater club. So, well, someone's got to hate. Someone's got to hate, someone's got to do the job. So, what controversies has Miss Maas come into? Now, the first one I'm going to read out to you, I don't know how true this is, because the other ones I knew about, but this one, I asked the AI to say, to tell me, what's a controversy that Sarah J. Maas has been in. And the AI told me this. In May of 2021, Maas became embroiled in controversy on TikTok when a user posted a video accusing her of plagiarism. The user claimed that Maas has copied scenes from another book series, A Shade of Vampire by Bella Forrest, and provided side-by-side comparisons of certain passages. Maas and her publisher, Bloomsbury, denied the accusation of plagiarism, and Maas released a statement on her social media accounts addressing the controversy, which I never saw, and I googled it and nothing came up. In her statement, Maas acknowledged that she had read A Shade of Vampire, but stated that she had never plagiarized anyone's work. She explained that similar scenes or ideas may appear in different books due to the nature of the fantasy genre, and that all of her work was original. Of course, she said that. Even though, of course, we all know Throne of Glass is a Cinderella retelling, at least the first book, and Equitar is, of course, a Beauty and the Beast retelling. We've been new, girl. We know plagiarism. You're not, it's original. So I googled this. I googled Sarah J. Maas and then the name of the book, and nothing came up. I couldn't find it. Let me go on TikTok right now and see if I can find this TikTok. I don't remember her making a statement about this either. I feel like I would have heard about it. A girl would have noticed, but what is it called? A Shade of Vampire. I also don't know about A Shade of Vampire, but maybe the AI made this up, actually. We never know. So I looked on TikTok and nothing comes up when I put in Sarah J. Maas, A Shade of Vampire, so maybe this is a lie, but if you know anything about that, you can gladly leave it in the comments. I didn't know about this. The thing is, I think plagiarism is so hard to figure out, because especially if you've written a whole book, except if it's like bland, they're saying side-by-side comparison, and it's the same thing, then you can argue about it. But I remember being 14 and wanting to write my own book, and I wanted to write about, and I didn't know about Percy Jackson at the time, which I knew about it after, because I watched the movies, but before that I didn't know about Percy Jackson, and I wanted to write a book about Greek mythology. Yes, you know where we're going, Greek mythology, and the people who have the powers of Greek gods training on a segregated, oh my god, that's not a good word, on an island in the middle of nowhere to be trained with their abilities, which is kind of like Percy Jackson, I guess. And I didn't know about Percy Jackson before. Like, I knew about it after, as I said, like, love Percy Jackson, Peace and Love. I read the first 2 books, don't remember a single fucking thing about it. Sure, it's great, though. I will be seated for the series, for the show. Can't wait. So, the other issues with Sarah J. Maas we're going to get into are a little bit more sensitive. We have the issue with diversity and sexuality. Now, before I talk about this, I am a white woman. I'm a white cis woman in Germany, okay? So, me talking about the diversity issues and the sexuality issues, I can tell that there are issues. And I'm going to stand up. We are allies. But at the end of the day, it's not up to me to, like, tell you how fatal this really is and how influenced or negatively influenced people are by this, and what a queer person or a person of color actually thinks about this. You can leave it in the comments, though. Tell me how much you like Sarah J. Maas after I tell you about all of this. So, Miss Maas. Many fans believe that Miss Maas, her books lack diversity, which is a fact. Because you know what she does in her books? She always, mostly, especially in her earlier books, she describes characters as tanned, golden tan, which is very vague. A lot of people have fan cast Reese and the bad boys as people of color at this point. I've seen, like, of course, like the standard image that you have in your head is a white Reese, but I've seen a lot of people saying like they're Latino or something like that, because they are described as tanned. But it's very ambiguous the way Sarah J. Maas describes it, and they are very little people of color. And you can say, okay, Sarah J. Maas is a white woman, she doesn't know how to write black characters, but you can just make some characters black. You know what I mean? You don't have to, like, talk about racial struggles and stuff like that. Like, your world can also just exist with black characters in it. She doesn't write black characters. Your main character doesn't have to be black if you're not black, but at least make, like, some characters around them black, or any other person of color. Make some of them Asian, for all I fucking care, you know? Like, come up with another race, I don't fucking care. Like, just make them non-white, because all of them are fucking Caucasian. So, she had a black character, in case you haven't, I don't know if you've read her books or not, and you're just here for the ride. In Throne of Glass, there's a character called Nehemia, and she's black. And spoiler, she dies. And the reason she dies is to further the main characters, the white main characters' plotline. So people were mad at Sarah J. Maas for this, because after Nehemia dies, she's supposed to be the best friend of the main character. There are, like, almost no black characters anymore that really are relevant. Like, all of the relevant cast, if they're all lined up, if you look at the fucking, there's fan art where they're all lined up next to each other, they're all white. Why? Why is that? There's also no one that's gay. There's in Air Fire, there's one couple that's gay, I think. And other than that, fuck the gays. Fuck them, you know? Sarah J. Maas says, I'm here for the girls, period. I'm here for the white girls and not the gays. And not the people of color. And I just don't get it, because it's so easy to just make your character queer, or make your character a person of color. It's not like it's, in German you would say Hexenwerk. It's not like it's a big, like, difficult thing to write a character that way. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. You can also just have a, like, open queer person that's proud of who they are, which is called representation. But she doesn't do that. She fucking hates all of them. And talking about Manon, you know, I mentioned earlier that I would talk about Manon. She was written as a white woman. There was no indication that she was a person of color whatsoever, but there was fan art posted of her and made of her, displaying her as Asian. And I think the general consensus in the community now, and the fans of hers, is that Manon is Asian. Which is slay. Okay? Like, I don't fucking care. Like, in my head, Manon, yeah, I would also say that in my head she's Asian. You know, I would cast her, if I had to cast her in a TV show, it would be as Asian. But Sarah J. Maas herself made no indication of this in her book. She was nothing but white. So, someone posted on Reddit saying, on social media before or around the release of the last Throne of Glass book, Maas posted fan art portraying one of the main characters as Asian. When previously no indication had been given that she was anything but white. And I don't think that in the last book, she mentions Manon being a person of color or anything. She just makes no mention of that, and then maybe she just really liked the fan art, was like, yeah, maybe she's Asian. And this has nothing to do with race or diversity, but I fucking hate the way Manon's character, and I don't know if people agree, but I fucking hate the way Manon's character developed. I know a lot of people love Manon and the person she ends up with. I'm gonna be ambiguous here, because I don't want to spoil it, in case you haven't read it. But Manon is a very independent character. From the beginning on, she's very independent. She's, because of the way she was raised and the way she's been trained, she's supposed to be heartless and very tough and, like, doesn't even care about her own coven and stuff like that. And then she meets someone. It's, like, basically, like, she was born, like, okay, are monsters born or made? Well, we have the question, we're raising the question here, but it's in her biology to be independent. And I would think that it would be nice to have her be independent and be like a strong, independent character that goes through development and eventually ends up being more compassionate towards her friends, but not necessarily, like, not end up in a relationship. I felt like her ending up in a relationship by the end of the books made no sense for her, or like for her as a character, and in her character arc either. The character that she falls in love with, they like seduced her with their weird sex tricks, and like, because they're so hot and they are attracted to each other and now they want to be together forever. Why? Like, Sarah J. Maas cannot write characters that don't end up in relationships. She has to have all of her main cast be paired off with someone. She's done it in Throne of Glass. She's doing it in Equitar. She's going to do it in Crescent City. Oh, she has been doing it in Crescent City. And you're going to notice that all of these main pairings are straight. You know? Make Manon gay. Peace and love. She ends up with a man, okay? That's a spoiler. She ends up with a man. Make her gay. That would have been slay, you know? Then I maybe wouldn't have complained. If she ended up with one, well, I mean, I did a video once where I was ranking Sarah J. Maas characters, and I said, or couples, not characters, couples, and I said Manon should have started dating Astrid, and I forgot they were cousins. So that wasn't a good look on my part. And then someone was like, oh, I think they're cousins. I was like, oh. Then with some of the other, like, with one of the other girls. There's enough girls in that book. It's a man that makes this very independent character submissive at the end of the day. And again, she could have had a great arc of becoming more compassionate and realizing that the way she was raised was not correct, and that friendships are a good thing, and not end up in a relationship. It's something that, like, really aggravates me personally, that she just can't have her characters be single. And again, we don't have many people of color. We have Moore, who is in the Equitar series. She comes out as bisexual or lesbian. I don't remember exactly, because I thought she was a lesbian, okay? But then people said, no, she's bi. So I don't really know. I don't care either way. But it was so cringe. This whole... is it an Equitar or is it an Echo War? Because I'm going to be rereading that. I think it's an Echo War. So I'm not going to be rereading it. But it's like 10 pages of monologue from Moore explaining to Feyre that she's gay. And how she came to terms with being gay. And it's good that one of the main characters in the series, like one of the inner circle, one of the important characters, does come out as gay. But it was really, like, weirdly done. It was weirdly done. And what I wanted to say something else about that, about Moore. What the fuck did I want to say about her? No, I forgot. Oh yeah, why did she tell this to Feyre, who she knew for like 2 months, and not like one of her close friends that she's known for 500 years? Why? Do you not like them that much? Anyway, we also have Helion from the Equitar series, and I don't actually remember this. I do remember he's bisexual, but what I have here says Helion's bisexuality fits into the tropes of the bisexual. Bisexuals are uncontrollable, attracted to everyone, constantly want sex, and are more likely to cheat tropes. Because all he talks about is like having sex and wanting to have sex with multiple people at once and having to have like threesomes and stuff like that. And it's made clear from the very beginning that he's bisexual, so that's like a sexuality trope that she just represents. Because Sarah J. Maas, she's like, I don't really know anything about bisexual, so I'm just gonna Google bisexual stereotypes and put it in my book. He has an affair with Lucian's mother, and is shown to have threesomes and be extremely promiscuous. So now I read this earlier as he has an affair with Lucian's mother, and it's shown as a threesome. So I was like, when the fuck did he have a threesome with Lucian's mother? He did not, but he does have threesomes. So he has affairs, he's everything. You know, we have a bisexual character that's of importance, because Hyland is of importance. He's not in the main cast, but he is an important character. You know, and he just fucks everyone because he's bisexual, and bisexuals, they just can't keep their cock in their pants, apparently. I thought she was lesbian. Why does it say bisexual? Can someone tell me? I don't know. She's what her sexuality is. But also Emran, for example, in the Akatar series, eventually ending up with someone. No spoilers, but she does end up with someone, because is it even a spoiler? Because as I said, Sarah J. Maas characters always end up with a significant other. Even Emran, who is a very independent, big independent character that doesn't seem to really need anyone, would have been great if she just opened up to her friends more, you know? Instead of finding a partner and spending all their time with them. Which I don't even remember how that came to be. I never really cared for that like partner much or anything. I don't care for Emran or that pairing, but it just didn't feel natural. I keep fucking up the mic. I'm sorry. Of course, Sarah J. Maas also uses very typical gender norms. We have the males and the females. Turn up, we have the Fae, and they are male and they are female, and the females are weak and the males are strong, and they are angry and they make the mountains shake when they fuck. And also, I've had someone comment under my videos that mating bonds are not traditionally Fae lore. Because there is Fae lore. I don't know it, but apparently, because I read Sarah J. Maas, I thought mating bonds were a genuine, like, I've read so many Fae books at this point, that I genuinely thought, like, mating bonds were a thing in the lore. Like, it was not something Sarah J. Maas made up. But then again, so many people have used it, so are they all just blatantly copying Sarah J. Maas? Or is there, like, some truth to the mating bond? Is there, like, some kind of bond in Fae lore? You can tell me, because I'm not sure. And nothing came up when I googled it. I didn't really know how to phrase it, my question, you know? But she has this thing where if the woman the female accepts the mating bond, she has to cook the man soup. And that's her accepting the mating bond. And she's like, well, it goes back to us being primal beasts in the past, so we have to cook soup. And it's like, girl, I feel like, oh no, I was gonna say something really mean and I stopped myself. I'm really proud of myself that I didn't say it. It's just like, so, it gets old, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, the female and the male and the female and the male, and then she keeps saying mate, 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 and it's very repetitive, and it's really boring. Is it boring? Is that what I wanted to say? I don't really know what I'm saying. Can you tell? It's 1 a.m. I kind of need to sleep at some point, but I really want to, like, finish this video and upload it, like, immediately. And maybe I'm gonna pull another all-nighter. Maybe that's gonna be my new thing. I don't know, guys. Sarah J. Maas has a bunch of issues with her. I think the biggest thing is the diversity. Who are black characters in her books? Can I think of one off the top of my head? Maybe in Crescent City there's someone that I'm forgetting. I think one of Bryce's friends. But it's always, like, the immediate cast, the immediate group of friends that actually show up in the book, like, over half of, like, for half of the book. If they're in there for half of the book, they're not black. If they're in there for, like, a third, maybe they are black. Maybe. If they are in there for a page, then they could be black and gay. Maybe. Maybe. Only maybe. So, I've seen people defend her and say, well, she's a white cis woman. How can she, or how is she supposed to write about black characters and gay characters? She can't relate to them. But is it really that hard to include them? Is it really that hard? I don't think it's that hard, you know? I don't really know what the issue is. And then people come say, or if she does it, people complain that she's not doing it correctly. Well, she's killing them off. And also, the gay character has a 10-page monologue that's kind of awkward, so... And is there not sensitivity readers that point this shit out? I don't really know what sensitivity readers are, but I I thought that they would read books and then say like, hey, you're not including a certain group of people or whatever. I thought that's what sensitivity readers were for. I kind of want to go into publishing, guys. I kind of want to do that. I was studying marketing in uni, by the way, in case anyone wonders. I've mentioned that sometimes. So maybe I'm going to start looking for book-related jobs. Imagine anyone hires me and I have to like be professional and not say peace and love in every fucking sentence. I cannot do that. That's it, guys. If you have any more Sarah J. Maas controversies, you can leave them down in the comments below. I've always stand Sarah J. Maas in the past, but now I just kind of think, oh my god, that it's a little bit cringe. Her books are a little bit cringe, but if people are like, oh, I love Sarah J. Maas's books, it's not like I don't go, oh, wow, you're stupid. Like with Colleen Hoover. No, I'm kidding. I only judge the people who say A Quarter of Silver Flames, the Nesta book, is their favorite book. No one says Tower of Dawn is their favorite book, because that has no relevance. But A Quarter of Silver Flames, why? The sex book. You just want to read sex books. Just say that. No, that book is genuinely bad. Okay, it doesn't have a plot, but we're not here to talk about that. You can watch my review on it. I'm going to try to get this video out as soon as possible. I'm going to be uploading my Kingdom of the Wicked review this week. Pray for me, okay, that I can actually do it. And then, what else are we doing? The Akomoff review. The reading vlog is coming soon. Maybe next week, depending on how fast I read it, you know. I think I'm going to be reading it pretty fast, though. I have trust in myself. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow me on Instagram. You can subscribe. You can turn on notifications. Oh my god, I never said that before. Leave a like, leave a comment. I love reading all of your comments, and I'm so thankful for everyone watching. I hope you stay happy, you stay healthy, and maybe I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.